Okay, so let me open a profile design file, and then we'll take a look at the storm sewer profile application. And you can see in this file I've got two views open. I've got my main view 1 with the profile itself, and then in view 2 what I've got is I've referenced in my drainage base map, and I've turned off all the other levels that I don't need to see, and I'm going to use this to place a drainage run on this profile. So from the proposed drainage apps, I'll pick the storm sewer profile application and just move it over here to the side. And the first thing it wants me to do is select the profile cell. So I'll use the select button, pick the cell and accept it. And you can see it's got the job number and the chain name that was used to draw that profile. And the other options are available for me to place. Now this uses a selection set from our plan view. So that's why I have this information referenced into the file. So I'm going to use the MicroStation element selection tool, and I'm going to select the elements that I want to draw onto this profile. So I'm going to do a left to right, or I should say right to left selection, which is an overlap mode. So when I release this, all the elements that that selection area overlapped are selected. And you can see I've got some things in here that are not drainage items. That doesn't really matter. It's going to go through and just find the items in there that have the ODOT drainage attribute defined as true, and just use those for annotation. Now when I'm drawing the profile for the selected run, there's some options here. If I want to annotate or not annotate, I can turn that on. And then with annotation on, there's a verbose annotation, or if I turn that off, it's just a simple annotation, and I'll show both of those. If I'm doing verbose, I can include the pipe annotation, and there's also an option to orient it vertically, and I'll show you that option separate. And an option here to draw any head walls if it finds any. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Draw Profile with the defaults here, and there's my profile run. So let's look at what we got. So this is reading all those ad hoc attributes that are assigned in my plan view. It's getting the elevations, it's getting the structure, it's defining the width of the structure based on the cells it encounters and all that stuff. So from this first one, it's found that CB2-2B and the one pipe draining out that's annotated with its size, etc. Now you do have to be careful about what you select and what you get in your set, making sure you've got everything that you want. Like through here, there's a catch basin here, and then there's a manhole. So you can see in that area I've got both of those annotated here, and I've got a little bit of cleanup work to do. So depending on what you've selected, there's always going to be some cleanup work. For example, I'm going to undo that. I'm just going to select everything here in this run. And you can see I've got some areas where there's going to be quite a bit of overlapping information. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and draw that. So you got to be careful that you don't end up with just a mess of stuff that someone cannot read or interpret, what's going on here. So it might be better to show those on separate profiles with one for the run on the left and one for the run on the right. But there are some things I can do to clean this up a little bit. So let me undo that and look at a couple of the options here. So again, I'm going to use all this as my method for plotting here, which I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably show these separately on the left and right. But I'm just going to use that to hopefully illustrate some things that can be done to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to tell it to orient the annotation vertically, and go ahead and draw that profile. And now you can see, I've got maybe a little more hope of getting this a little more readable with the information annotated vertically. There's also some overlapping here and things that need to be moved around. So let me show you another annotation option here before I get into modifying annotation. So I'll undo that, and I'll turn off the verbose annotation. I'm going to select select all this again, And with verbose turned off, I'll hit draw profile. And in this case, it's looking for reference numbers that are assigned to those. And you can see most of these I did not have reference numbers assigned. There's one I had a D1 assigned to and a D2 assigned to. So if there's no reference number assigned, it's going to put a question mark on there for you. If the reference number has been assigned, it's going to show that on there. So turning verbose annotation off is something you may want to consider if you just need to identify these by their reference number and then include the information somewhere else on the plan. Okay, so I'm going to undo that, and what I'm going to do is leave verbose on and turn off vertical, and I'm going to select only the things on the left side here and go ahead and draw that in. So that's a much cleaner way to do it, is to split these things up between the left and right if that's feasible for your plan. I wanted to do that so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing, to use the move labels options. So there's a couple of ways you can use the move label option. I can hold the horizontal position, so if I pick move label and then pick a label, I'm moving it up and down, but horizontally left to right it's constrained to its horizontal position. So there's an option there if I want to move these up maybe so they don't conflict with my ground line. That's a real clean way to move them straight up without getting an angle introduced there. Now over here I've got two structures, that's in this area. I've got a manhole and a catch basin here. So maybe I'm going to take the vertical off of that, and this one, move it over here, and maybe move this one like that. So just a couple different options there for you moving those labels around, and it's nice because it keeps the anchor point of the leader line and keeps all this stuff intact with the label. So really that's all there is to it with the profile information. Again, it's all keyed on the attributes that are assigned to the plan view. So the big advantage to these applications is when you get to the profile and then when you get to the cross sections is quickly drafting this information on the cross sections and profiles, and then the ability to manipulate those annotations is pretty nice too. So I think that's everything I need to show on the storm sewer profile. So next we'll move to the cross section mode.